I am absolutely flabbergasted that this kind of thing can happen in Uganda under the stewardship of what used to be the National Resistance Movement. Even during the worst days of Idi Amin, litigants were allowed to file cases. When we heard that there was going to be a parliamentary session approving candidates for various offices of state, we inquired from the Judicial Service Commission to confirm or deny the rumor that Honorable Justice Stephen Kavuma had not been recommended by the Judicial Service Commission to be the Deputy Chief Justice of this country. I'm sorry, my voice is breaking, because I could never dream that this kind of kangaroo thing would happen in this country. When we finished making our constitution, I said, I'll die fighting for our constitution. I have done my bit in stopping the NRMO party, totally negating the principles and the rules we enshrined in the Constitution, simply for their own perpetuation in the office and for some for selfish reasons. For the last 3 years, I have been battling with brave other lawyers, which is the names you know, to fight the government from violating the Constitution of this country. I usually cry for the deaths of my relatives. I love this country and the Uganda Constitution as I love my own relatives. And when I moved the motion to promulgate it, I said I will continue fighting for its protection and against those who violate it until I die. I was in bed this morning, thinking everything is going in accordance with our laws and the Constitution, when I gathered from our client, the potential petition, actually the petitioner, in this case, Honorable I'm sorry. You see, others fight for money, others fight for positions and status. I fight for our country. I fight for justice. I cry for the demolition of our constitution, which was promulgated by all the people in Uganda, and now is being thrown in the dustbin of history by people who are not principled, who are misgoverning this country, and really who ought not to be in the offices which they occupy. The Constitutional Court is the second highest court in the land, but it is eminently the Constitutional Court. For litigants, lawyers, and the witnesses to be treated the way we were treated since this matter started is a disgraceful to the leadership of this country. It is purely disgraceful. And I tell you why. When this matter started, about 2 weeks ago, we were told, not by anybody else, but eminent members of the Judicial Service Commission themselves. I'm not at liberty to mention them, but they will not mind if the matter comes to court and I mention their name. They said, once again, the executive has done it. Just like they were doing with Justice Odochi, they have smuggled in a Deputy Chief Justice without the authority or recommendation of the Judicial Service Commission. You remember, in the case of the Judicial Service Commission, a bench of the court decided that the president has no powers to nominate judges or courts of judicature in Uganda. That is on record. Everybody knows that. In the judgment, they say the president can only appoint anyone to the post of judge on the recommendation of the Judicial Service Commission. The president has that judgment, the former Attorney General has, everyone, including the acting Deputy Chief Justice, has got that, because it is his own court, the court on which he presides, that made that decision. So when we had that statement from honorable members of the Judicial Service Commission, and then we received a document from them signed by His Excellency President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, and it confirmed what the Judicial Service Commission had told us. We sought advice from everybody. They said this must be challenged if they are to go ahead. So I am asked, I wrote a letter, which you will find, to the chairman of the Judicial Service Commission, Justice James Ogola. He's a friend of mine, and if you remember, he fought against injustice perpetuated by the executive when the High Court was invaded by the Black Mamba, and he was then principal judge, and he said famous words which will echo in the history of Uganda judiciary. He said that was like that the temple of justice was wrecked by the Black Mamba. Those are his very words. I couldn't believe that in a short time, when he became chairman of the Judicial Service Commission, he would have forgotten the words himself said. Because first, he's a friend of mine. I talked to him. I said, what do we do? He said, write me a letter complaining that the recommendation, appointment of Justice Kavuma as Deputy Chief Justice is irregular, and we shall give you information that we never recommended him. Those are the very words of the chairman of the Judicial Service Commission, James Ogola, my friend. So I obeyed his instructions and I wrote to him that letter. He appeared to be very slow in answering it. So 2 days ago I called him and said, James, I am still waiting for this letter you promised because we are going to court. He said, I am in a meeting, please, I'll call you later. You don't have to guess, he has never called me again. So I told our client, who is a member of parliament, Honorable Gerald Karuhanga, what happened? He said, no. Decisions of the Judicial Service Commission as to whom they recommend to be appointed is a public record. And our constitution is obliged to give you that information. What we have asked is a simple question. Did you nominate Justice Stephen Kavuma to be the Deputy Chief Justice of Uganda. And he said, how can he fail to answer that? He's a public officer. Under our constitution, public officers are obliged to reveal and release evidence which is not confidential or embargoed by the official Secrecy Act. I can tell you as a lawyer that this is not one which is a secret or which is embargoed by the Constitution. So our client, Gerald Karuhanga, talked to him the day before. And he said, this is a very sensitive matter involving the person of the president. I cannot reveal it. But if anybody wants it to be revealed, please seek a court order. Now, for us knowing that this is not information for which you seek court orders, we decided to enumerate what had happened, how evidence was being refused to us. And therefore, we are going to file this case and tell the Speaker, everybody, that they need to instruct the judiciary to do their bounden duty by the Constitution and not deny clients access to the second highest courts in the land.